There's a story that needs to be told about the power of music to change lives. One drum beat at a time. Music as an antidote to violence.
Think about a seed. When you put it in a container, and how many days it takes to become a sprout. After a sprout, transplant it to the earth, and then one day, after many years, it becomes a beautiful tree.
The drum, first of all, the drum comes from a tree, which have a spirit.
The pulse of drum beats in Belize comes from the people of West Africa, who brought with them the power of drums, the power of communication, of solidarity.
We, as Creole in Belize, we are descendants of the Malenke people. Our ancestors were enslaved to cut logwood and mahogany in the plantations in the forest.
Plantation owners in the New World forbade drumming, fearing the great power of the talking drums.
A tool and a tactic in colonialism was division and separation. So they saw the drum as a threat to colonialism because the drumming brought the slaves together. We weren't allowed to speak our language, we weren't allowed to drum.
From within drums, not guns, comes the power of music to connect people to their roots and to create a sense of community.
Drums and Guns, as it says, is the name of the movement, and the movement is basically to redirect their attention away from guns and gang and violence and the lifestyle that is associated with guns. They can become a part of something bigger than themselves and something positive, and for them to become a part of the lifestyle that is associated with drums. When you encourage drumming, you encourage the upliftment of the society, you encourage the coming together of the people.
One drummer takes this to heart, using the drums of his ancestors to create the communities of today. Creole master drummer Emmett Young.
I'm originally from a village called Gales Point, Manatee, and it's a Maroon settlement. Maroons are people that was escaped slavery, runaway slaves that settled up into the mountains.
The Maroon people created their own independent communities, some of which have survived for centuries.
When my ancestors come to Belize, drumming was outlawed because there was many different people from different tribes from West Africa come to Belize, but it was a large group of Igbo, and because they didn't speak the same language, they used to use the drum as recreation, and when they get together with the drums, you know, the slave master would say they are rowdy and they were always afraid of revolt. And these people get together with the music and they get strong.
Because of this, Emmett was inspired to start up the Drums Not Guns movement.
5, 6, 7, 8. The drumming, when I work with the kids and teach them to play, it's more than just drumming, you know. It's teaching them to be responsible, to be professional.
Belize City has the 4th highest murder rate of any city in the world, due almost entirely to gang violence. The country of Belize has the 2nd highest murder rate in the Caribbean, the 3rd in Central America, and the 5th in the Americas.
I was noticing that many of the kids from the village, youths, was going up into the city, and they would go up there to join gangs in the city. The most notorious gangs in the city was recruiting them. And then when they come back to the village, they would come back in a coffin. They would come back killed by gun violence. So it was between 4 months' time, I think we buried about 6 kids from the village.
The graveside gunfire salute has its origins in African customs, where spears were thrown into the air to protect the dead from evil spirits. The British military adopted this custom, but used gunfire instead of spears. Now, in Belize, this legacy of gunfire strikes a wrong note.
Then the guy them from the city, when they come to the funeral, they would bring guns and be shooting over the grave. So I decided, man, this is not really a good way to honor somebody that just get killed by gun violence. So I take my drum and I say, man, I should go down to the funeral and play my drum instead of guns. And that's where the idea comes, direct, drums not guns. And since then, I don't drop my hand. We've been pushing, working with youths, with street youths, trying to keep them away from gun violence, teaching them drumming, art and craft through drumming, you know, so that they have an outlet to release themselves instead of release that energy against each other. They work together and make music instead.
One of my friends inspired me because I see how he used to always playing the drum and stuff like that, and I asked him who teach him to play the drum. And then at evening he was going up by Emmet to practice, and he asked me if I want to come along. So I said, yeah, sure, I'm going. And then me and him went, and then right from there I started. The first day he take me over there, and he was just showing me a couple of stuff on the drum, and after that, the next day I went back for that, just continue going every day, going, and right from there I started out.
Emmett goes out to cut trees during the full moon. As his African ancestors have done for centuries, Emmett makes all of his drums by hand from start to finish.
Play the West African rhythm, you need basic three songs, the bass, the tone, and the slap. Yeah, the drum in particularly, every drum is different. I make 8 different styles of drum. I make the sambai drum, I make the kinkini, I make the sangban, I make dundun, I make barabu, I make bokonabe jimbe, sabaya, and I also make garifuna drum, segundo primero. So when I go to the jungle to collect the wood, it takes me about a day from when we cut the wood to get it to where I live here. When you start to carve the drums, from start to finish, you would shape up the drum. So that takes another day to get it shaped up, carve it out from the bowl to like a finished product. That would take 2 to 3 days. So an average drum like this side, from start to finish with the skin and everything, take at least 5 to 6 days. And all these drums that you are seeing right here.
It is said that the spirit of the ancestors reside in the drums. The drumming is associated with every aspect of African life.
We come to live up to or down to the expectations others have of us. We often become who other people think we are.
I have many experience with kids that the drum really affect their lives.
What if we changed our expectations?
Basically, the drumming it's a disciplined instrument. You know, like any music is very disciplined, but drumming, for instance, it's very disciplined. You have to, when you give them a part to play, they have to learn their parts and play that part, and so you help them to concentrate, and you help them to develop their self-confidence, build up their self-esteem, teaching non-violence through art, music, and craft.
There is a resurgence of drumming because the Creole people in Belize are in dire straits, and we need to come together. And when we look at our history, this is what our ancestors did. This is how our ancestors did it. And it's a tried and true method. So we today pick up the drum and not the gun.
It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. If you are still above ground, then you have time to put down the gun and pick up a drum. Put down your fist and resolve the hatred and anger and speak the rhythms of your soul.
I'd like everyone that look at this film to take their hand and cover their heart and feel the beat of your heart and know that you yourself is just a drum beat away.
And now, in the hands of those who love them, drums are hope for the future.
I am young and powerful. I have a rich past and a rich future.
And that wealth is not measured in dollars.
I am responsible for directing the future for myself, not only as an individual, but as a part of family and community.
I am young and full of creative force that is optimistic and dedicated to making a change.
One drum beat at a time.
One drum beat at a time.